Did you know Jesus defines Holy Spirit? In Mark chapter 13, verse 11, the yellow highlighted text that you see, Jesus teaches sometimes the words people say are not their own words. The words are from or by Holy Spirit. And in Matthew chapter 10, verse 20, Jesus teaches, Holy Spirit is our Father's word speaking from your mouth. Now, I did some editing in the blue and green highlighting, and the word in, and I had to add the word through, because we have 4 examples of our Father's words. The first example, Luke chapter 1, verse 67, tells us when Zacharias declared John's the Baptist's life, these words had to be said by our Creator, for he prophesied John's life. The second example we have is Luke chapter 1, verse 41, when out of Elizabeth's mouth she declared Mary's son is blessed. These 2 verses prove their words were our Creator's words coming from their mouths. The third and fourth example are in Luke chapter 12, verse 12, and Matthew chapter 12, verse 28, where Jesus teaches our Creator's words will be said in their mind, and then they are to say his words. Other examples of our Creator's words coming to their mind are in the Hebrew text, where the prophets are being told to go out, and then our Creator will tell them what to say. Thus, Jesus teaches us there is no Trinity. All right, what I'm going to do in this video is get into chapter 16. But what I am doing here is trying to find the first writer's formats. And this is being recorded for history. For when I get done with this, all the books will be one. Then there's links in the chat groups to take a look at some of the books right now that I've got done and trying to assemble in order. So it is confusing, but it's just pieces here and there right now. Ezekiel seems to be a prophet, and the prophet's timeline is either over here before or with this king right here that is going into captivity, or he's over here and it's this king here, because I've got text specifically talking about here in Judah, the nation Judah going into captivity. So in other words, the text is not perfect the way it is, and when I get these pieces together, I will assemble them to the best order I can. Because here, this is talking about the nation Israel, okay, in chapter 14. And this is the format for a 4-verse format. This is where I try to always find 2 major words and connect them together with the least amount of small words to make a verse. And here this verse has a comma and this verse has a period, so it makes a sentence. And when this repeats itself, then this becomes a paragraph. And if it's done really well, like this here, these 2 become a larger paragraph, so I have extra space between them. But chapter 14 ended up with a lot of words from our Creator. So I honor and respect our Creator by using all capital letters and coloring them purple. And then when Jesus is being mentioned, his text and what he's related to Jesus is about in red. Now, 16 has got a lot of verses, 63 verses. So I have it as part A, but don't be surprised if I get all the way through these in this video, because I just got done cutting it up, and it is really, really bad. For example, here you have Canaanite, Amorite, Hittite. None of them are true. They've been extinct since Moses killed them off, or our Creator had them kill them off when they go into the Promised Land. So right now, no matter how I want to try, this it's impossible to say is truthful. So this group here hasn't been wrong so far. The whole text, or the whole book, make known to Jerusalem. Or the prophet wouldn't put a female deity on the city, so let's get rid of that. To Jerusalem, their abomination. Now, what is their abomination? Well, their abomination has to do with having sex with a so-called female goddess. We find that text in Malachi 2:11. Malachi 2:11 says the nation Judah has married the daughter of a foreign god. The foreign god is Ra, the sun god, and the daughter has to be a goddess if he's a foreign god. This is the goddess. And she is tied to the moon. And how you marry the daughter of a foreign god is to meditate at certain times during a moon month. Now, let me see here. If I go to here, we have Jeremiah calling her the Queen of Heaven. So that kind of helps me, or helps you to understand that what this is about, the word abomination. Our Creator, when I was correcting some of the text, he calls it harlotry. Harlotry, did I spell it right? I think so. Okay. It's called harlotry. Make known to Jerusalem their harlotry. Then he's going to say the origin of your birth. Now, Jerusalem did not have a birth. The origin, or the beginning of the city Jerusalem, is where David was bringing the tent for meeting, all packed up and coming down to Hebron, and one of the priests reached out his hand and touched the chest that holds the 12 commandments, and he killed him there, so he stopped right there. And then David said, this is where Creator decided then that he wants his tent to be set up, and then he establishes the city Jerusalem. That's how the city begins. So, but here, this is not true. For the day of your birth, see, all of this stuff, you were not washed with water for cleansing, nor rubbed with salt, or even wrapped in cloths. So even though that might, this rubbing of salt, I've never heard of as a practice back then for cleaning the child up from right after birth. But that's kind of maybe what they're saying happened is truthful. I don't know. No, I looked upon pity. Well, this can't be talking about Jerusalem, okay? So the day you were, what is it, abhorred on the day you were born? I don't think so. Why? What reason? When I pass by you, you're squirming in your blood. Do you know that this is not true? I just got done telling you the story. Somebody doesn't know that there's actually text in the Hebrew side of the text telling us what happened and how Jerusalem got established. Okay, I made you numerous, like the plants of the field. Then you grew up. But this wouldn't be Jerusalem, it'd have to be the nation. But this became tall and reached the age of refinement. Your breasts were formed, and all of a sudden now we have a female here. So this is not true. When I passed by you, I saw, behold, the time for love, and you lifted up your skirt. No, this is not true either. And you entered a covenant with, I swore to you and entered a covenant with you. Now, what this is it's actually the first time we have the word covenant comes from when, let me show you those words. This is at Abraham's time, where our Creator is establishing his covenant between them. Right here is the first time. And it's actually going to be promises. There's going to be many promises. But this is the first time that he's going to make nations from your seed. Kings shall come forth from you. Actually, it's lords, because there was no kings mentioned at this time except for like the king of Egypt would have been known by Exodus after a while. But when the text starts off, they're just the three tribes or the three sons having the land after Noah. So they would have had like a lord over them, over the whole family group, an elder. So some of this text is not right, but a lord or king can be used to say that then all nations in the earth will be blessed because of him. Him would be this king or a lord, and we're talking about Jesus. And then we don't learn that though about what this blessed means until David's time. So right off the bat, they're using this covenant with you just because they have the word to be used other places. So who's editing this text, or why are they putting this text in? Actually, all this is for their God. Okay. When I say that, I didn't put here's the 12 commandments. So if you don't believe that there's 12 commandments, Exodus 20 verses 1 through 17, you're listed. Now, our Creator also said that you needed a sin offering to atone for any one of these you did not obey. So there are only 12 sins, and there was no sins until this agreement between our Creator and the nation Israel began. So this could be called a covenant or an agreement with people. But the 1611 preface, this is the words coming from the translators. They have Gregory as the divine. So now you know there's something up when you see they're labeling Gregory the divine with a capital D. And they're all happy that the first Roman emperor, so he corrected the calendar and the order according to the course of the sun with a capital S, and that's why you see Vatican having a Egyptian obelisk, and it's going to be about the sun god Ra. And then they tell you why you're studying the Bible. Lastly, and the end reward of the study thereof, thereof is the text below, is just to have a fellowship with saints and a participation of a heavenly nature. And I'm sure you thought you were going to read about our Creator, who is going to tell you how to obey Him to enter into heaven. Nope, not what the translator said. So that's why the text is always confusing and not coming out really saying what they're trying to say. All these are trick words. So like this here, washed you off your blood and anointed you with oil. This is just crazy speak. A porpoise skin on your feet, when our Creator said anything without scales is unclean to you. So this person here is very unskilled about the knowledge of what our Creator defined as what is unclean for them. And He didn't put ornaments on them. He didn't put rings in your nose, because that, He said, do not put imprints in your body. No tattoos, no piercings, no branding, no nothing. Our Creator didn't want that. I want you to do that to your body that He gave you. So to have this experience on earth. So this can't be true. And came forth among the nations because of my splendor. This is not true. This blessing that was mentioned about having kings come and making nations of you, all that putting together is not His splendor, but to have a nation living according to our Creator's will, of you obeying our Creator first, not your family, not your spouse, not your children, our Creator first. Then they were, as an example, set for the other nations as to live in peace and have no plagues, famines, droughts, or any of that. So we're going to find a lot of those promises that He tells us about what His blessing means to be obedient to Him. This sounds like they're playing the whore and not a harlot. And this didn't happen either. And I'm just going to go through now here, because when I first did that, that's why I said part A, part B, when I just read 68 verses. I'm trying to figure out how I can make thumbnails ahead of time. And when I break down the text, then I got them on a piece of paper and I'm looking at them. I said, okay, I can make these up, because before I just said 2, 2, 2 all the time. And when you get 68 verses, if this was to be worked on truthfully, it would probably be 2 of them 3.5 hours long to do the text correctly and clean it up. So most of my videos are 2 hours to 2.5 hours, and I try to get 2 of them in, 2 chapters at a time. This is wrong. A soothing aroma. This is just garbage. If you're going to kill them, you're going to kill your children, sacrifice them to pass through fire. All this is not true. Just garbage. I'm looking for stories that, like when you you take either of those or that link that I put in the chat room. You open that up and you read that, and you'll see small pieces that are complete subject, and you know that you can't throw that text out and say it's no good, but it's got to go someplace. Don't understand it. Then all of a sudden you're going to find stuff that's in order, that's probably maybe 40 of these groupings together just to tell one story. Then you know that's the original text. And you'll find it has a story with a meaning about people, places, and events. This, that you built a shrine and made yourself high places in every place. This would be our Creator when he's talking like this. He's going to say, that's why I'm kicking you out and I'm going to kill you off. So that's usually when you see words like that from our Creator, he's killing them off for leaving him, not obeying the agreement between him and the people in the Sinai with the 12 commandments. That's why the 12 commandments are important, because even today you are to be obedient to him by those 12 commandments. This I don't see as truthful. You're going to diminish your rations, and these guys are so small that they hardly even exist. David killed them off so much that there wasn't really a nation. There was just a place where they lived by the Egyptian river that's on your maps today, that's south of Israel. That used to be the old borderline for the land of Egypt, or the kingdom of Egypt, by the way, long time ago. The Assyrians haven't come down yet. That's what I'm trying to find, is the Assyrians are coming down, and he's saying that you played the harlots to them, and they come down and they killed them off. So they didn't do any of this. This is just wrong. Chaldee is a country which has the Chaldeans, which sided with either the Assyrians that came down or the Babylonians that come down. They just sided with who was ever in power and said, yep, you can be our ruler, just don't kill us off. We're just going to join you. So they didn't care. They just wanted to be at peace. If you want to take our money, we'll send it to you. You want to take our people, take them. But we're on your side. This is wrong. This they might have done, but this isn't how our Creator would be speaking about it. And it would be something, if a prophet's talking about, he's complaining that it's there. Yeah, I thought this was going to be too like a 3-hour video that I was only going to get this far. Okay, I really did. But when I just cut it up, I realized that this is just so wrong. Because all this, blood for your sons, which you gave to your idols, this is, therefore I'll gather your lovers whom you took pleasure in, even those whom you loved and whom you hated. I will gather them against you from every direction and expose your nakedness to them. Like, look, there's, to the west is nothing but the Mediterranean. So from every direction, they're going to come by sea and get your nakedness exposed to them. So again, nothing here. Now, actually, the last chapter that I got rid of before this actually had Daniel in the text. Daniel doesn't appear until um, after Judah is gone. So how did they're talking about Ezekiel being a prophet? They're trying to make him a prophet at two different time periods, but even that is still 100 years before before Daniel comes in, is in Babylon. So, and our Creator has jealousy, and I'll be pacified in my anger no more. This person that's writing all this text has no idea the concept of a creator, a being who created everything. They just don't. And that shows them knowledge of them at this time. They believe that they became gods, okay? That this has always existed, it's always existed this way, and they didn't have the knowledge we have today about the concept of time and over hundreds, well, now 5,000 years of knowledge of civilization. And we have to really start in China and India to go back that long. The Bible just says that there was a flooding, so they knew that there was life existence before the text starts here. And the story Adam and Eve is actually just a general story, and there would have been many Adam and Eves that he created around the world. So concerning your mother, this is not right. Here again, Hittite, and Amorites, these were, and they're calling Ammon's Amorites, by the way. It was Ammon and Moab that Moses killed men, women, children, and animals because they were literally having sex with each other and animals. So, look, they're bringing up the word Sodom now. They're including Sodom. Just over salted words. That's the way I usually say it. I mean, out of any of this, it's still not saying anything. Again, Sodom. Again, Sodom. And here, no, this is just all. This is just going to be gone, gone, gone. I'm pretty sure the whole thing is, because I'm on verse 50, so there's only 18 more. Samaria did not commit half your sins, but actually, they don't understand from the time that Israel, the nation, was created, this first king built an altar in Bethel to copy the altar that they had in Damascus, that they were using the gods from Egypt as calves to say, now Israel, this is your gods. And he did that because he thought that the people start going to Jerusalem and atoning for their sins there, that they would just say, we don't want you to be our king anymore. We want to go back and be one nation. But these letters here that are small, these are all kings that are bad. And then a couple of them come along. This was during Elijah's time, or Elijah, in Elijah's time. And then Jehu was a good king. So, but his son was pretty good, and then they fell apart. So Israel was always bad. Okay, they always were away from our Creator. Now, another thing about this timeline is there's this 300 years that we have that are missing in the text that would have been listed as judges. Because when we start talking about Eli and Samuel, we learn from them stories that they had already separated themselves, like the way our Creator divided them into two. So they were already disoriented and gone away. I had found text in, I think it's Isaiah, that talked about he stopped appearing to them in the tent of meeting because the priests become corrupt in Shiloh, and he abandoned it. So that's what's missing here, is all those stories are there and what happened for them. And I'm thinking it's probably, now that I've done this for many years and seen the lifetime of these kings, I can say that it's probably closer to 200 years before they fell away from our Creator, which is sad. 250, I guess. I've removed 50 years, or like one generation. Okay, so furthermore, Samara has committed half your sins. So, but this is all out. There's nothing here of our Creator calling out, prophesy to them. And if this is all our Creator speaking, I don't think anybody can make sense out of all this as how you could relate it to one prophet at one timeline. When you see there's too much text of one Samaria, that means Samaria would have to leave. And then he's talking like favorable your sisters, like you both exist at the same time. So your sisters are like Sodom and Samaria, which means that now that Samaria has not gone, will return to the former state. So now it's kind of like, wait a second, that Samara's gone and now it'll return, and yet also return your former state. And it wasn't your former state, your former nation. So there's talking about the state of the body, by the way. In Edom, David killed them off, so they didn't have a king, so that was just a place where they paid tribute to. It was a territory that they named Edom, but since David's day, they didn't let a king rise up, and he made them subjects to Israel. So, because David put them back together as one, and then Solomon screwed up. If you break the covenant, you were to be sent into captivity. So there's no oath. That oath is a pagan practice, like the word oracle. See, I remember my covenant with you in your youth, everlasting covenant with you, and it was with Abraham, not with them. It was a promise to them of the 12 of the commandments, everlasting commandments with you. I established the commandments as an agreement with you. It should be to understand the text correctly. No, that's a lot quicker, because I don't think any of this is going to be truthful at all here. So that was not good, but that's what happens. 63 verses just thrown out like that because they aren't truthful. There's no story. So I'm going to call it an end of this video here. And I got to get to work because 17 I've got cut up, but that's going to have to be for tomorrow. Have a good night.